Greetings and welcome back to Stellaris, my Commonwealth of Man playthrough. So we're struggling along here. We're very slowly gathering vassals and we're not gaining much political power. But let's go ahead and see about spinning off this just to drop our empire size a bit. This planet would generate quite a bit of empire size. We are getting more colonies too. So we go to planets and sectors, and at Citadel we create a vassal. We're going to call this Citadel Research Institute. And we will create them as a vassal. We're going to want them to be a Scalarium, but that will drain our influence for a while. First, we want limited diplomacy. We do not want them to have migration treaties with other empires. We can go ahead and say expansion permitted. I don't care. They can't expand. We want them to join our conflicts. And we want at least 3 holdings. We'll have unified censors. That would cost 225, so we're going to have to adjust this a little bit. Let's say they don't join our conflicts. That's only 75. We don't really need them joining our conflicts just yet. Now, what if we decided to go straight into Scalarium? Oh, it would not take long at all. It would take 8 months. Alright, so if we went straight into Scalarium, put them at limited diplomacy. Right now it is 100. Unified censors makes it 150. 2 would make it 100. 3 would make it 75. What about 4? 175. So we can go for 3. So currently we're at 75. If we have them join our conflicts, 225. Join our defense, 125. Well, we can renegotiate to have them join all of our wars later. Right now they won't even have a military. We'll go with the cheap one. That gives us more influence to do with something else with. And they will start becoming a Scalarium. Right off the bat, we will get a little bit of research from them. Not much. And we don't really have to give them any resources. They have a chance to get boost to research. We get an overall 10% monthly scientific research, even if they aren't giving us anything. So let us proceed with this. Alright, they currently are losing loyalty, but we can do some deals with them. We can offer them, first off, we want to get a pledge of loyalty from them. And then we will give them some minor artifacts. 500. That should give them the plus 100 from a favorable trade deal. Now, as far as the Authority of Corinth has joined the galactic community. Who the hell is the Authority of Corinth? I guess that was the random name they were going to get. They are not the Authority of Corinth. They are the Citadel Research Institute. Alright, that caused our fleets to come off of there, but we can have them land because we are going to build as our first holding an Overlord garrison to help them. Now we can see they have a decent amount of production. They are currently in a minor deficit of minerals, but they could shift over to do that. They have surplus food. They could shift a farmer over there and be able to get the minerals they need. So they are fully self-sufficient now. That dropped our empire size by 25 points. That should help out with our cost for technology, as well as our cost for traditions. We're about 3 years away from completing this tradition. Now, what did that do to our other contacts? We're now negative for the Merivandians. Yeah, we lost 1.5 on the Merivandians because of our divided patronage. Let's see, if we reform our government, how much did it say it would cost? 5,000? If we went with an imperial authority, we would want feudal society, so we would have to give up something. If we gave up nationalistic zeal for now for feudal society, yeah, it would cost 5,000. That would set us back quite a bit to reform the government, but that would get rid of the monthly loyalty, and our subjects would have an additional monthly loyalty. I think right now, we'll just deal with it. Let's see, how many holdings do we have with you so far? See, with the United Merivandians, we have 4 holdings. We could give up the off-world foundry for now. That's 14 alloys. That is kind of nice, but we could give up the off-world foundry. Well, we already have an overlord garrison on the capital. We've given them a pledge of loyalty. Their opinion of us is pretty high. We need to improve our relations with them. But yeah, now we would have to improve relations with them to get it back up. It is slowly bleeding off the hostile first contact. That is taking a long time to get rid of. The favorable trade deal is dropping. Relative power is another problem because we are not using our full fleet capacity. So subject opinion is giving us 2.27. If we look at them again, their opinion of us is 227. So in order to get it positive, we need another 100 and so points of opinion. So we would need to improve relations with them. We can keep trading for loyalty and just keep their loyalty up that way, because it doesn't take a whole lot to max out their loyalty. You see, it's like 1 point apiece, so we do have resources we could gift them, mainly minor artifacts for them, to keep their loyalty up when it starts getting low, and we could try managing that way for a while. Now we still have 2 years before we can renegotiate their deal, I believe. Yeah, 2.5 years just about. Now what we need to do is go to integration prohibited, restricted voting, expansion prohibited. We'd want at least 3 holdings, unified censors, and we want them to give us tribute. Well, not that much. We want them to start giving us tribute. That would take 400. 367. 338. It's actually cheaper to sell them to give us most of your crap in tribute. Interesting. Yeah, it's 400 just for this. 475. 300 to get only to get to 4 holdings. $238 if we started bleeding them of resources. 226. 207. 179. Oh, that's expensive. Getting the strategic resources. What about getting research from them too? 343. 158. We could get a pretty oppressive vassalage of them for just 158, and we've got a couple of years to build that up. So yeah, we could, but that's going to really tank their loyalty. However, we will be able to get 4 holdings, so we could spread out armies over their planets to get the extra bonuses from that. That's just to make it cheaper, though it is harder to maintain. It's pretty cheap influence-wise to be oppressive. You just have to struggle more to maintain the loyalty, which is the problem. But we've got 2 years before to allow us to build up some influence to decide how we're going to handle them.
Science Division report success.
Yeah, that knocked a month off of each of these, I believe. That one was at 3 months, and it dropped down. Instead of dropping to 2, it dropped to 1. That one was at 11, I think. Autocannons. Large caliber ballistic weapons that fire cased explosive shells. The main advantage of these cannons is their high rate of fire. Now, since we have no more things to research, we actually have more research here than we need. So that's going to pop almost immediately. And then we will need another one, but we are going to knock out plasteel so we have something else to upgrade. Now, the autocannons by themselves did not cause any upgrades because we don't have anything outfitted with autocannons. If we were to look at the ship designer, let's go to one of our defense platforms, the large one, yeah. Large autocannons still have a very low range. The range of the small autocannon is 30, then it's 35, then 40. They just have a very high rate of fire, do bonus damage to hull, but they're bad against armor.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
We got plasteel materials. Boy, that was quick. Plasteel is an elastic material that combines many of the qualities of plastics and metal. It is relatively cheap to produce and can be used to augment ship armor. Now, pretty much everything's going to be expensive from here on out. I mean, we could get the robot workers, but we've already said we're not going to be using robots. It would take about 3 years to get any of these techs except for flak cannons, which would take about 2. So let's get working on anti-gravity engineering. That will give us access to the arcology project and the ability to restore our relic world. I don't believe we have an industry specialist, but we do have a spark of genius. So in just under 3 years, we'll have anti-gravity engineering. The Multics already have that. Looks like we are the pioneers in galactic bureaucracy, but the Multics also have the enhanced code breaking. It means we probably need to work on our defenses, because that means a lot of other people have decent code breaking as well. Now, we're not going to be researching any more ship upgrades for a little bit, unless, let's see. Yeah, we'll get plasma thrower in about 8 months after we get the simulated social engineering. So we can go ahead and retrofit some of our other ships. We do have some designs still being upgraded. So we will wait to do the refits until these are done. They agreed to the change. They're a military dictatorship. They shared our bonuses. We sold one of our slaves. Now if we look at the agreement, yeah, they're -1 right now. And we are in the process of building that Overlord garrison. They will convert in 8 months, so by October they should be a Scalarium for us. Star Realms of Shar broke off the research agreement with the sovereignty of Tuxcali.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
They gave us the Pledge of Loyalty. We have simulated social engineering. The weakest link in any security system are the individuals within it. By modeling their weaknesses in computer simulations, we can find novel ways to bypass their security, or trick them into bypassing it for us. So disruptors, upgraded hyperdrive that gives us access to the transit hub. Our energy credits are starting to dwindle again. I'm thinking the quantum field manipulation might be a good one. It would take 5 years and we don't have a field manipulation specialist. A specialist would only drop 6 months off of that, since this is a specialist for the exact same price of computing and is knocking 6 months off of it. We could get a reroll in a year doing automated exploration protocols, even though we don't really need that. I think we'll go with the plasma thrower. We do have a particle specialist. Though we had our reservations about sending the adventure-seeking veterans to Vardavar 3, we have received reports from our vassal that they have found themselves at home there, and have proven to be more helpful than one would originally expected. Alright, Citadel Research Institute has already got a positive opinion of us, and is gaining loyalty again. United Miravandians are the ones we need to keep an eye on. They're only losing a point per month, so it would take a couple of years before we had to worry about their loyalty level and do a trade to get loyalty back from them. How much longer is their pledge of loyalty going to last? I'm not sure where we would see that. The protests on Doran have ceased almost as suddenly as they began. Rumors about the origins abound, but many whispers speak of a group called the Manifesti. These enigmatic collective seems to have been responsible for a number of provocative art projects in recent years. Their subject matter every bit as spurious as the issues we are seeing protested on Doran. Let them have their fun or arrest these so-called artists. That would be a Unity hit. Provocative art projects about spurious issues. So it doesn't really matter. These guys are just trying to be rebels. I think arresting them is what they actually want. Just ignore them. They're not a threat yet. Let them have their fun. Now, does that mean I am no longer suffering the Unity hit on Doran? No, it's still got another 2 years. The hegemony of Ubaria declared us their rival. Really? You? They're equivalent in tech. They're inferior in economics, and they're not my rival anymore. We have a new proposal. Repeal cooperative research channels. Galactic law currently places significant amounts of intellectual property and national security issues at risk. We must repeal these misguided laws in order to protect our people. I'm opposed to that. Polissimon Concordant proposed that. Alright, I can pull my support from minor research sanctions when this is about to go. That would get the Non-Interference Act up there. That's not the one I want. So I guess we leave minor research sanctions for now. Actually, this one doesn't really... well, it bans aggressive interference, which is what I'm doing. Sold one of our slaves. Uthambul and allied clans are in a migration treaty with the Great Miravandian Authority. It does remind me. We need to establish an embassy. And I would like... We actually have technologies they don't already. What the hell? I would like to get a commercial pact or something going with them, because they are humans. and they can only have relations with us. So we would actually be pretty good getting bonuses toward authoritarian, being in good relations with them. I think we need to improve relations, but that's going to have to wait until we get the Rakarans under control. We're improving relations over here.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Dragon is finally refitted. It would take 1,000 to reinforce that fleet. So we're going to go ahead and reinforce it. It's going to take 6 months, and then those ships will be out. I don't know how much longer it is for these ships to be out. Let's see. 1 month. And then all of our current fleets will be fully outfitted, and we can do an actual redesign of the ships with the new armor and such. So they agreed to the embassy. Now once we get feudal society, rather than having these large vassals, we would actually be better off with a bunch of smaller vassals, even if they're like only one colony or two or so, or one system. They won't be able to give us much in the way of resources, but we would be able to build a Ministry of Truth on every one of them, and each one of them would provide influence. Year 0. In a stunning turn of events, Soki Jagor has been deposed, aligning themselves with several opportunistic generals within the regime. Rebel forces succeeded in launching a coordinated planet-wide attack. Before the pro-unification commanders knew what was happening, their positions were overwhelmed. Paraded in chains through the streets of the capital, Soki Jagor was quickly executed. The victorious rebels have granted the planet's regions the authority to dictate their own affairs. After years of war, a tenuous peace has descended. So they've become egalitarian. We got some more society research. Should have galactic bureaucracy before the year is out, as well as plasma throwers.
Ships refitted.
Our starbase fleet is fully upgraded now. Let's see, that's going to take 2 more months. I would need to have something else queued up, but I don't have the alloys to do it.
Ships refitted.
Oclaran Interplanetary Confederacy has joined the galactic community. They would be another pre-FTL civilization, I believe. Soran combined clans broke off the research agreement with the sovereignty of Tuxcali. Star Realms of Shar stopped guaranteeing the independence of the Oclaran Interplanetary Confederacy. And our research institute is now a Scholarium. They're gaining a small amount of loyalty right now, and we still haven't even finished the Overlord Garrison. They're giving us very little research, but it's research. The main benefit I'm getting from them is the plus 10% we should get for them being a Scholarium. Now that is monthly to our monthly total. So all of our researches here are up by 10 extra % for having them.
Science Division reports success.
Weapons that eject destructive balls of high-energy plasma at targets. These plasma projectiles are extremely effective at eating through ship armor. We can get the advanced cloaking field generator. That would be the level 2 cloak. Since we know at least one person has level 1 cloaking detection, that would take 9 years. It'd be 5 years for the X-ray laser. or for multi-dimensional studies, which is the upgraded complexes. Our exotic gases could handle that. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and do multi-dimensional studies and swap out our researchers. So we'll have it in about 4 years and 4 months. That's not too bad. And then we will further boost our research even more by being able to upgrade our research complexes. Of course, we'll need the population to support that.
Ships refitted.
I was really hoping to get the upgraded hyperdrive, because that would allow us to finally get the hyperlane, hyper relays, and set up the advanced hyper relay network. All of those have finished their upgrades. I do need to further add more defense platforms, but we're running low on alloys.
Refitted.
All of our border systems are fully upgraded. Tendrazun made peace with the Glirin Pact. All participating vassals became independent. So the Glirin Pact has become an independent, I believe. Now the plasma thrower has about the same damage as a UV laser. It's less accurate, but it has about the same average damage. It just melts shields even quicker. I do like the large lasers because they have no minimum range where these do. But as far as medium weapons go, they're about equivalent. It depends on how I want to melt shields, so I could consider redesigning some ships now that they should all be out. No, Strike Force Dragon is still waiting on its reinforcements, and we could see about refitting some of our designs to use the plasma throwers. Oclaran Interplanetary Confederacy closed their borders to us. Go figure.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Galactic bureaucracy. Multiple administrative strata efficiently surface only the most vital information to the upper levels of government. Create a thrall world. Disables the construction of city districts and most buildings. Allows construction of slave huts. Free pops can no longer grow on the planet. Thrall world modifier boosts the growth of my thralls. Well, right now I don't have an issue with getting my slaves to grow faster. But the one good thing about that is I could make resource worlds into thrall worlds. Right now, like some of those tide-locked moons, they might be useful. Pop growth speed, I think, would be more useful so I could get humans faster. Ancient driller drones. These are strike craft that bypass armor, but not shields. They have to go through the shields. It would only take 3 years to grab them. Do I still have an Archeo? Yes, I do. A little over 3 years, or just about 3 years, and I should have the ancient driller drones. Then I could ignore the armor of my opponents. Let's have a quick look at some ships here. Yeah, they are much heavier on the armor than the shields. That could be very useful. Because I do have plenty of mass drivers to tear down shields fairly quickly. Yes, I believe we'll shoot for those. There are some ships I could refit to have those. Now that we have cruisers, we do have hangar bays on our cruisers. Felnall Cooperative is in a defensive pact with the Tendrazun. Tendrazun subjugated the next Nexus. Pictures grunt 1,000 words. A subversive dialect has taken root within our art centers and educational institutions. Its origins lie in another project penned by the Manifesti. Linguists note that the so-called Uslurp speak, all words relating to our economy have been replaced with expressive grunts. More worryingly, its many and colorful insults all seem to derive from the names of prominent military figures. This has drawn formal complaints from the individuals' families. Well, people will actually have more happiness if we leave that alone. But they're insulting prominent military figures. This crosses a line and demands a swift response. Uthobul and allied clans broke their migration treaty with the Fel Null Cooperative.
Construction complete.
Deneb's starbase has finally finished its fleet academy. I can only afford to upgrade 2 of the platforms right now. My alloys have taken a serious dive. My prospectorium is not performing very well. Yeah, they were giving us 6. Now they're only giving us 4. They are just stagnant. The amount of food they're giving us has dropped. It was 7. They're actually giving us exotic gases now. But yeah, they are not performing very well as subjects. The Great Miravandian Authority declared us their rival. Senate is now in session for regulatory facilitation. Oh, that actually did get up above minor research sanctions. Good. It's going to boost our worker pop resource output, reduces habitability, but we're just about a cap on every world we've got now. We don't have that strong of economy, unfortunately. So I would like to get the Fortress Legionnaires fleet back, but before we do that, we are going to review our options. Always delighted to meet our patrons. Rest assured that the next dividend shipment should reach you shortly. Would you care to tell us what you think about our range of new services in high consequence protection? We think our civilian clients will love them. So we're going to share our technology with them. You want to share your technology? Your trust in us is an honor, dear patron. While our R&D department is committed to keeping us on the bleeding edge of research, we simply cannot mobilize the same amount of resources as you. And any knowledge that you share with us will be used to develop our activities in the most ethical manner. Now this will give us a little bit of opinion and 1,000 energy credits. So now we can get them to recall their fleet. We want you to recall your fleet. It required at least 80 reputation with them. You certainly understand that recalling a fleet is a sensitive matter. We have, of course, prepared the necessary loopholes in our standard contracts, but we will need at least 6 months to bring the fleet back, and a generous compensation to avoid upsetting our current customers. We believe that this course of action is not in the best interest of our organization, but you are our patron. We'll make it happen if you wish it so. That would take influence and 1,500 energy credits. I think we can handle that influence drop, and it will make them displeased. But I want my fleet back. So it dropped them by 15. That's not too bad. Now, to help them field a bigger fleet, we would need alloys. So we can't do that just yet, but we have shared our technology. So it's going to be 6 months before they recall the fleet. After they have recalled the fleet in July, we should be able to lay claim to it. That will get us back up in our naval capacity, having this Fortress Legionnaires fleet. They'll also have access to cruisers in the future. They already had frigates, it appears. Nipped in the bud. Our efforts to apprehend members of the Manifesti proved difficult, but have now yielded results. Once the slew of sympathetic pretenders could be sorted from the actual instigators, all manifesti activities have stopped. A great deal of public scrutiny is now coming to bear on our attitudes towards censorship, not least because this movement had encouraged such liberal thinking. Nevertheless, there has been a marked decline in vandalism and other civil distractions. Let us hope this is the end of such nonsense.
Our pioneers have made planet fall.
Begin the colonization of Destinicon, another energy credit world. End of the Polissaman Concordat. They've been destroyed by their enemies. We have another colony ship en route to the Maestro system. I traded 127 minor artifacts for 30 loyalty with the United Meravandians. They were getting kind of low in loyalty, down to about 60. Steam Patron, the company is doing well and our earnings are steadily increasing. Here are your dividends along with an extra delivery of resources we recovered from a civilian client who defaulted on their payment. A little bit of food and minerals and energy credits. It looks like they are available. Do not have the option to hire a fleet yet, so we're going to have to wait the one more month. Wonder if they upgrade at all. They haven't yet. Star Realm of Shar was given association status to the Allied Independent Systems, and the Allied Multics territories declared the Star Realm of Shar their rival. Mercenary fleet that we commandeered from our enclave is awaiting orders. What the hell? Just as soon as it popped up, the Uthabulan allied clans rented them? I didn't even have a second to do it? Am I going to be constantly struggling to maintain my fleet now that I've let them go once? And we don't have the opinion to tell them to recall now. That was unfair. I was looking to contract them, and now the Uthabulans have them. So I guess I'm going to have to wait 10 years to when the Uthabulans have to renew the contract and see if I can snag them before someone else does. I've done a round of upgrades to ships, designs. I do not have the alloys currently to upgrade ship designs. But a quick overview of what I've done. The North Star Interceptor now has autocannons. It does still go to swarm range, and it has an afterburner. Because of power issues, I had to drop it down one shield to use 2 armor. Other than that, it has top-of-the-line gear that I can get. Cockatrice Picket has pretty much remained the same, except I gave it afterburners and had to drop the one of the shields. My Stealthy Attack Picket, of course, switched to autocannons, as did my Decisive Torpedo Frigate. Both of these are intended to cloak and get behind enemy lines and get up close before they decloak, so they are in very close range. Of my destroyers, the Argo is an artillery, has a medium coil gun because that is the medium weapon with the longest range, and it's about equivalent to the plasma thrower. So when shields get torn down, this thing will melt through armor and hull pretty quickly. The Surprise has switched around a little bit. It now has all autocannons. So its longest range is 40 now. It had to give up one shield for an extra armor because of power issues, but I gave it afterburners so it can close distance a little easier, and it comes up to line range. The Manticore is a picket artillery now, and I switched its artillery weapon with an autocannon, very short range. So this vessel gets up close to intercept missiles and has a very short range but heavy, rapid fire weapon. My gunships, the Winger, now has a plasma thrower, so it is a mix of medium plasma thrower, medium laser, and 2 small coil guns. Decent range. It stays as a line ship. The Ascendant is my gunship interceptor. It's actually artillery because it's mainly missiles. It does have a medium coil gun, has a fairly decent range, stays back pretty far, and I gave it regenerative hull tissue because these have 100% accuracy. This only has 75, but using auxiliary fire control for one gun didn't seem worth it to me. I would rather this thing slowly repair any damage that is done to it. The Centaur, of course, is one of my ships with anti-aircraft stuff. I switched it to have all autocannons and come up to picket range. The Robust is a picket gunship. It didn't really change too awfully much apart from getting regenerative hull tissue. It still pretty much stays at artillery range to make use of its antimatter missiles. It has a fairly long-range medium coil gun, and the Sentinel Point Defense will help shoot down any missiles headed toward the other ships back at artillery range. The Adversary is another artillery picket class. It's a picket interceptor technically, but it is all missiles with another Sentinel Point Defense and regenerative hull tissue. The Matchless is an actual picket, and I gave it small autocannons. They have fairly good tracking, so these would also be good at shooting down missiles or strike craft if necessary. And it has regenerative hull tissue. And I did design several cruisers. I'm currently only using 3 designs. I designed an artillery, the Orestes. Has 2 large lasers and 2 medium coil guns, so it has a range of about 75 to 80. Stays back at artillery range, and I gave it auxiliary fire control to make it more accurate. The Neptune is an artillery gunship. It is all coil guns for the great range, so that gives it a minimum range on its 2 large weapons. It also has the antimatter missiles in its small slots, and it stays back at artillery range. The Bastet is one that I am using. Basically, each of my fleets are getting a ship with a hangar. It has a large coil gun and antimatter missiles, stays back at artillery range, and also has strike craft and anti-aircraft. The Endymion is a broadsides artillery. It actually comes up to line range. It has medium coil guns, a large laser, and a medium plasma thrower. So and it regenerative hull tissue. It's designed to get up there where it can soak up some damage, kind of heal from it, and has a mix to tear down shields and damage armor. The Serapis is basically a brawler class. It is all autocannons. Its medium autocannons have a range of 35. This comes up into picket range. I did that for the extra tracking. So because all of these have a tracking of 50, that would boost them all up to 60 and give them a better chance. Well, combined with this, they would be about 70, give them a better chance to hit smaller ships. It has afterburners and 1 reactor booster because of power issues. The Minerva is another one that I am currently using. Has, of course, the hangar, but this one is anti-missile. It has 2 medium coil guns and a medium plasma thrower, and it stays at artillery range, so it would be at about 60. Actually, that's closer to medium range, but it would get up to about its longest range weapons, which would be the medium coil guns. The Sobek is the other one that one of my fleets is currently using. It is a broadsides hangar ship, has 2 medium coil guns and 2 antimatter missiles, and it is anti-aircraft. Stays back at artillery range. And the final design, which I haven't made use of yet, is the Adroit. It is a torpedo cruiser, and it is loaded up with autocannons and torpedoes. It comes up into torpedo range, does strafing runs, and it is loaded out with afterburners to give it a little bit more speed as a cruiser. So its speed is 186. Let's see how that compares to my destroyers. It's faster than my destroyers for the most part. A lot faster than my frigates. But slower than my corvettes, which was to be expected. But it is still faster than destroyers, at least. At least destroyers that don't have afterburners. I didn't really do any changes to the defense platforms yet. I'm still using, for the large weapon, I still want the lasers for the lack of minimum range. While the plasma throwers would be nice, I think the lack of minimum range for the UV lasers is better, because a lot of stuff tends to swarm a station. And shields will get torn down pretty well. We will have a lot of medium coil guns both here and on the station itself. And we also have the hangars and the missiles. Now, when I get the strike craft in about 2 years, I think I'm going to replace all of my current strike craft with that. With the ancient driller drones. Their average damage is 34, and they will have to go through shields, but they will bypass armor. Well, when we look at this, most of my ships are pretty heavy on coil guns, which tear down shields extremely fast. That's about a 50% increase in damage, and ignoring armor, which my enemies primarily use, is the way to go, I believe. If I look at my hangar ships, yeah, this one has medium coil guns. This one has medium coil guns. Of course, it also has something to melt armor. And this one has 1 large coil gun to help tear down shields. I might leave this one with just the basic strike craft or return it to using the basic strike craft when I get an upgrade of a basic strike craft. But for the most part, replacing all of my hangars, even my defense platforms, with the ancient driller drones in about 2.5 years would be a better idea for my defenses. Now, my economy, as you see, is struggling a bit. I am seriously bleeding off energy credits. But I have sufficient of the others I can generally sell. That just means I cannot gain any alloys. So when we do renegotiate this deal in about a year, I am going to need some taxes from them to help compensate for my lack of energy credits. The alien civilization on Mesum 3 has finished construction of its first interplanetary vessel in orbit of their homeworld. For better or worse, these aliens are now ready to join the galactic community and must be counted among the galaxy's current spacefaring races. They appear to have successfully translated our language and have opened diplomatic channels with us. Greetings! I am honored to have been chosen by Chairman Rimerak to represent the mandate of Mesum 3 in all diplomatic dealings with your fascinating species. We strive to unlock the full potential of technology, a goal we hope you find equally worthwhile. We will achieve unity. Do not stand in our way. So I had seen them pop up as a question mark. I figured if I gave it a day or two, they would actually pop up. Under societal guidance of the Uthabulan allied clans, provided with technologies by them and have a commercial agreement with them. And they have been enlightened. Natural development of this civilization was greatly accelerated by the interference of another party who helped them become a spacefaring culture. They have an alpine preference. But that is what I really should be looking for, is small empires I can declare humiliation wars against for a while, because I don't need another vassal right now until I can get the autocracy of Rakaron under control. And I need to get my economy situated where I am generating more alloys and more energy credits. Okay, the autocracy of Rakaron embraced the alien tolerance forum and became more xenophilic. So now they are xenophile, authoritarian, militarist. Now, since embracing factions tanks your other faction's approval, that is one of the reasons the AI suffers so many rebellions, because they're a little fickle in the factions they want to support and how they want their ethics to be. I'm still upset that I did not get first dibs on claiming the Fortress Legionnaires fleet. It is a little upsetting that when I told them to recall the fleet, someone else immediately grabbed a contract out from under me. It should have reserved the option. Well, when I went to recall the fleet, I should have been given the option, recall the fleet and get under contract with me, so that this could not have happened. Scientist Nishant Naik has developed new skills. Meticulous, anomaly, discovery chance. That's about useless at this point in the game. Although there are places I can survey, most all of the territory has been surveyed at this point. About the only time...
Spaceborne life form.
About the only time... Space amoebas is what we spotted. About the only time getting things like that are good late in the game is if you are playing a specific type of scenario, like no AI empires, and possibly very few primitive civilizations, so that you can just explore the galaxy on your own for the most part and deal with the marauders and the crises and the fallen empires. Although if you have FTLs, they will eventually pop up as other civilizations. It's a way to give yourself an advanced start, basically. You get a little bit of time before some of the primitive civilizations become spacefaring. And that's actually kind of fun to play, though it isn't much of a challenge against most of the AI. It's the crises that matters. And it does get a little dull not having much diplomacy to do, or interactions with other empires. Star Realm of Shar has ended their association status with the Allied Independent Systems. Good. I did not want the biggest empire in the game joining this federation I am trying to tear apart. Uthabul and allied clans broke their migration treaty with the Star Realm of Shar.
Our pioneers have made planetfall.
We've started the colonization of Thebes, one of our tide-locked worlds. I'm trying to get my energy credits up, so I'm going for all the tidally locked ones because they were better at energy credits. One pop of our founding species is up for sale on the slave market. Well, it's got to be from the United Nations of Earth, honestly, because none of our population has actually been captured. And we do not have migration treaties. So there's no way they could have gotten one of our pop. Now, I do need humans for a few of my worlds, I believe. Let's see, I think Leffingwell could use a metallurgist. So we will actually buy this slave and go to Leffingwell. Make sure they're a metallurgist and not an entertainer. Oh, I've run into that again, have I? Alright, you guys have to be culture workers. There we go. Yeah, I did run into that problem on another world. This one, even because of the way the bureaucrats are, if I say be a culture worker, oh, it did pull out the ones that were entertainers. So yeah, you have to focus them as culture workers to get my entertainers back up here. But I am still force growth on humans on here because I'm trying to build up my unity. So I need more bureaucrats. A lot of the other worlds I'm taking force growth off of. I do still have it on unity, but I will be taking it off so that I can supplement my economy by selling surplus slaves. Uthapul and allied clans has declared the Adnorn Reapers their rival, and the Glostwarhinians have entered a migration treaty with the Reshethian state, who they have as a subject.
Skywatch has sighted a spaceborne life form.
Where? Whoa, that was pretty. This is Stellarite Devourer. Oh no. We have another. I know exactly what happened here. Somebody opened the broken gates. That's another dimensional horror. Basically, the entire system gets destroyed and a dimensional horror gets born. And we got to witness it. So there's another dimensional horror over here. That means the hierarchy of Moffith probably lost a decent colony. There are two gateways in here. I wonder if they just attach to each other. After we hit those, we need to find an L gate we can actually get to. We might see about getting over here and getting to United Nations of Earth territory. I wonder, let's check and see how their tech compares to ours real quick. I don't know if I know enough about them. There's Commonwealth of Man at 16. Their technology is more than double ours, so I am willing to bet that they will have the ability to see through our stealth detection at some of their star bases. Yeah, they do actually have bigger stations than we do. We're falling significantly behind militarily. We're actually not doing that great economically. If I had focused more on economy early in the game as opposed to building up a military to be aggressive, I would probably be in a better state because I tend to be better at that. Star Realm of Shar made peace with the Adnorn Reapers. Neither side occupied territory. Well, that's not entirely true. When you are at war with people like the Adnorn Reapers, it is considered a total war. So every system you take, it isn't occupied, it switches sides during the course of the fighting. I formed a commercial pact with the Latrepian domains. We'll actually get less out of it, but I need the energy credits. And it actually went down. That's strange. I actually lost about 20 points. Is that what I'm trading to them? No, you don't miss what you're trading to them. It's created for them. I must have gone down because of districts being built and other upgrades going on, along with maybe my subsidies increased. I did have several buildings under construction. Federation League is in a migration treaty with the Citizen Confederation of Gavazul. Uthapul and allied clans are in a research agreement with the hierarchy of Moffith. In the same system as a space amoeba with our cloaked ship, not a big deal. I'll go ahead and eliminate that so that I get a pop-up when something else enters the system. And I think the Half-Lifer and Marauders have completely forgotten about me. We serve only her will, and for the moment, those with pockets deep enough to hire us to smite you. As long as the end result is more dead believers, she of the Void approves. Who paid you to raid us? Infidels, unbelievers, heretics. We would just as soon have nothing to do with them, but their energy credits will help to further her will. You didn't tell me who. There's another human on the slave market. That is a high price for a human. This human has strong and natural engineers. Interesting. I'm not going to buy that human, though. Alright. Citizen Confederation of Gavazul broke off the commercial pact with the Uthapul and allied clans. And I believe we should be able to renegotiate our deal now. Yes. So we want to get rid of integration permitted. That's a huge chunk of disloyalty. We'll give them restricted voting. Expansion permitted. Boy, jumping that up cost a lot. We'll give them unified sensors. That's increasing the cost. So that is 200. Let's see, if I did a little bit of resources, that would get me out of my deficit. That would cost 190. Of course, it doesn't improve their loyalty much. However, having the holdings means I can bit more garrisons and improve it that way. See, if we did it, that would be 290. That would be 240. 190. If we left them at limited diplomacy, 140, but it's not helping their loyalty much. So it's costing us more influence to really affect their monthly loyalty change is what it is. That would be 190, giving them just a little bit more. All right, let's see. If I got them up to restricted voting, and let's tax the hell out of them. Let's see. That would be cheap as dirt. But it's not helping their loyalty. I need a positive change to loyalty. Let's drop each of these a little bit. Let's get a little bit of research from them. So this would give us sufficient surplus of energy credits to get out of the deficit big time. This would give us a good chunk of alloys to produce further and double our current consumer goods. This would give us about 20 more points of research. And it only cost 113. Now, it's not very much of a change to loyalty. Their current loyalty jumps up a little bit from 100, but they're still losing a lot. As we build more holdings, we can affect that. Let's see, we could get it up another 6 from 3 holdings with armies. That would still be... We actually do need 2 more points less loyalty inflicted here. If we did expansion permitted, say we'll join all of your wars. That'd be too expensive. Of course, we could drop the basic down a bit and say we'll join all of your wars. Still too expensive. So right now it would change to negative, it'd only go up 0.9, though they would gain a little bit of loyalty right now. And that would still leave us a decent amount to renegotiate with somebody else. For example, these guys are going down 1.5 if we were to renegotiate their agreement. I don't believe we could get it less than 50. Now, it'd be 100 to do that. That would raise it by 1. 100 to do that, that would raise it by half a point. The only thing we could really do for them is say we'll join all of their wars. That's really not going to make that big of a difference. Well, I mean, we could give them even more research. That would be 187. I mean, they don't suck down a lot of research anyway. That would just be 20 extra points of research. They don't really provide much in the way of resources either. Provide some exotic gases, that's about it. Now, they're significantly positive. When we get the influence, we could start bleeding some research away from them to help our research. Let's see. Yeah, we could get a significant amount of research from them, and they would still be positive. Of course, that takes a lot of influence to pull that off. What if I drop that? Way too much. So yeah, we would need a huge amount to make that jump to where they're giving us more research so that we can boost our tech, which is what we really need to be doing. When they advance another tier, we're going to end up having to subsidize them more. And we can't renegotiate with them because we just created them. They agreed to the changes. Now that we can have 4 holdings, I do have armies coming to land on this planet, so we are going to start with an Overlord garrison here. We have the Overlord garrison here. I want a Ministry of Truth as well to give me a little bit more influence. And actually we should have stayed here, figure out their next largest city. Their Forge world was actually bigger than that one. They have an urban world where? Era Obis. Up over in the Hazar system. So we will build an Overlord garrison here as well. And we're going to need to send some ships over that way. So let's see, this fleet is going to land on Rakaran, where I already have fleets. When it gets a little closer, it's about 3 months out, so in about 3 months, I can take the other fleets that are there and lift them off and send them off. I pulled a lot of fleets from worlds that I pulled the garrison from. Like Ferdera, I got rid of the holding, so I launched my armies off of there. There was no reason to keep them there. The other world I pulled some from was Scion. Because I got rid of the holding here, there was no reason to keep the armies. Now we could vassalize these guys, but that's going to be yet another vassal that we can't handle right now. And I don't want to spend my unity to reform the government just yet. I am so close to getting another tradition. I'd like to get my unity output up. If I could get some more of these... Actually, I could probably get rid of another holding with the United Latrepian domains. Or get another holding there to build one that generates unity for me. See, that boosts my platform cap by 3. That provides me 0 unity is what it says, but it's actually a fractional amount. And this, of course, gives them a monthly loyalty change. The Merovandians, I'm having to do additional garrisons because they are so unhappy. I would hate to have to give that up for a garrison. Well, I've already got a garrison on the world. Oh, and I can build another one here. I have the garrison. I have the Ministry of Truth. The third one I can build for them, I could do a satellite campus, which is 11 research, but a better one is the Ministry of Science. That one is a 3% research speed. Now that will drop them 1 point of loyalty, but they do have a positive amount already. That's fine. It is these two we need to get under control. They've actually dropped to 4.8. So when these two Overlord garrisons get built, they'll be down to only losing 0.8 for now. Well, I do have 6 armies here on Rhodomen. Let's take 3 of our armies. That is a human and 2 oxen litter. And this one has the general. And we will take them over to Hazar and land them on Ira Obus. I could forgo the Ministry of Truth for now and find another world to put a holding on for additional loyalty until I get them positive, and then get rid of it and get the Ministry of Truth. That might be a good thing to do, because I will have 3 extra armies coming off of Rhodomen soon. So yeah, let's cancel that. And here on Ro Essek, let's build another Overlord garrison. That is way the hell over there. As soon as this fleet starts landing, I will move that army, the remaining army on the planet, over that way. This one is on its way to the other world here. It's still over a year away. But next month we can see how much our economy improves from the new taxes. There we go. We're actually earning a decent amount of alloys. I should be able to get my retrofitting and stuff done. This is why I never got a renewed leader for the Fortress Legionnaires when I had it. There's a few bugs with the way mercenary fleets are handled, in my opinion. Their reinforcement fleet that is being built here, that is not the one that the Uthable and allied clans are renting, is the one that has the leader. It is not merging with its hired fleet. Their reinforcements do not go into hired fleets. They just kind of build up here at the station, and that's the one that got the leader. So the fleet that you're running around with, no leader. Also, the fact that we can't pull them away being their patron and get the contract is another thing I consider an issue. The way that mercenaries fail to actually reinforce fleets that you have hired, I think, is a major issue. I'm kind of disappointed overall with the way mercenary companies work, because as you lose ships, it will just build up this other fleet that can't be hired by anybody and is the one hogging their general or admiral. Also, there is a correction I have to make. Previously, I had said that defense platforms did not have an upkeep cost. They were build and forget. I was mistaken. That is where all of my upkeep has been draining from. These defense platforms I have been turning out do have a significant amount of upkeep. Some of these, are 3 or 4 energy credits apiece at this point. Where if we look at my fleets, that's about equivalent to a destroyer, I think. Yeah, it costs more than a destroyer to keep a defense platform. Now, I had never really noticed their upkeep before. I don't know if it's something that I just overlooked or something that was added in. But yes, defense platforms have a significant amount of upkeep, so keeping your defense, like I have been, building defense platforms for everything, is one of the things that has been really impacting my economy. So yeah, I could get rid of a lot of these defense platforms, even though I've invested a lot in them. That would significantly drop my energy credit and alloy expenditure and allow me to build up my actual fleets. These ones that aren't border stations, I could disband all of the ones here on Dultari, for example. I will keep the ones on Deneb. As a matter of fact, I will build up Deneb's defenses because I do want my capital to be well defended. But I cleared out all of the ones I wasted alloys on here in Deneb and Tabor, Lithium, and Dultari. Usually my economy is solvent enough that I do not notice the drain from defense platforms unless it was something that was recently corrected that I overlooked in a patch note. As you noticed with the United Nations of Earth playthrough I never had a severe issue with my economy, and I had defense platforms all over the place, and I was not getting subsidies from my vassals. But yeah, that should correct some of the deficit I'm having so I can go back to building up my fleets and get my naval capacity back up. We'll see the change in about a month to both my alloys and my energy credits. Helios is missing planets. All calculations point to the existence of several more celestial bodies, yet they are nowhere to be found in the system. Sensors have been recalibrated and numbers rechecked, but the theory stands disproven by reality. We have marked the missing planetoids' positions on our star charts. It seems like the previously neighboring pre-FTLs in the Dacha system created this strange system, yet the hyperlane leading there has since disappeared. Interesting. Let it advance a day or two so we can have a look at things. There are no hyperlanes here. Yeah, the Dacha system I can't reach. And they said there were no planetoids in this system. I'm seeing them. Oh, here. These have empty orbits. They're, Helito 2 is showing up, but 2 of these orbits are empty. Yeah, it's just 2 empty orbits. That's a really weird system. I don't think I've gotten that event before, but this is over in somebody else's space. I'm not worried about it at this point. That's one I would love to get in my territory. Usanakan Company has joined the galactic community. Where are they? They are a mega corporation. I don't see them. Oh, there they are. They're rebels. Okay, yeah, it doubled my alloy output and doubled my energy credit output, getting rid of all of those unnecessary weapons platforms. Or defense platforms. Alright, we are now landing those armies. So I will go ahead and have the ones on Rodoman embark. And head down here. And I believe it is Ira Manosk. No. It's Ro Essig, where we are building them. Now it's going to take me 9 months to get over there. I believe if we go back and look at that planet, it'll take 7 months for the garrison to be built, so that's not too far back from when the garrison will be built. We're in a Space Amoeba has entered the system with us. Now that we have a few thousand alloys and a glut of alloy production, I can also probably spare to buy more alloys. I can end up selling a few things. Let's sell 500 gases and 500 motes. And we'll leave the rare crystals. That gets our energy credits back up at least, but gives us a decent supply of alloys. We can start upgrading our vessels. Because it takes 1,000 to upgrade those. 1,000 to upgrade those. And 1,000 to upgrade those. And only 200 to upgrade those. When all of these are upgraded, I can start, well, when Poligar is upgraded, I can start reinforcing that fleet again. But when all of these get upgraded, it'll probably take long enough for me to want to redo the ancient driller drones, but that's fine. I've been trying to figure out why I thought defense platforms had no upkeep. And I remember, right here you see where the ship lists its upkeep cost. And it tells you the upkeep and all of that. But if you went to... I mean, even with a new design, you have a base upkeep cost for a ship, and then the components have cost. And if we go to a defense platform, there used to not be the upkeep displayed here. And now you see it is only getting upkeep from components. There is no actual base cost for defense platforms. They only have a component cost. Because if we go back here to a new design, it has a base and a component cost for the ship hull type. And according to the wiki, they're supposed to have no alloy cost for, or energy credit cost for, there's supposed to be no alloy cost for defense platforms. Even if we reduce all the components down, you see they still have a small cost. And it doesn't matter if you select a hull type, it doesn't really increase anything of the upkeep. But I don't know if it was mods I used to play with, or if it was that way earlier, just off the base game, because most of my previous gameplay was with mods, because there were certain systems in effect that I really didn't care for, like the way Empire Sprawl was handled, and Empire Sprawl has since been turned into Empire Size. But I played a lot with mods. That's the reason I had very few achievements. And I don't know if it was the mods that disabled upkeep for defense platforms, or if earlier in the game there was actually a bug or something where the defense platforms did not have an upkeep cost. And if the upkeep cost has since been increased. But that's what I was trying to understand, is where I got that information wrong. I'm still not sure, but as I said, you know, back like in the United Nations of Earth, I never noticed the upkeep costs because I always work with a strong economy, usually. The awareness of the Nat Thankin civilization has increased to high awareness, and that has to be from the Miravandian ship entering the atmosphere, or entering the system with them. Yeah, so they're at high awareness. That's not good, because that's going to take away the last observation post I have that is actually generating research for me. But I believe I have gotten all of the insights possible anyway, because I'm not seeing the insight situation anymore. So I believe I have unlocked all, I think there's only 12 insight technologies. I believe I've unlocked them all, I just haven't researched them all.
Our pioneers have made planetfall.
The hegemony of Obaria has entered a migration treaty with the Great Miravandian Authority.
Ships refitted.
We've upgraded all of the defense platforms at Deneb. I still have a few more I need to build here. I have 5 platforms left to build here. I need another hangar, and I'm going to put 2 discipline and 2 integrity on here, but I'll just queue up a few. And we have colonized Destinicon. We'll just start with the holotheaters here, and then get into the generator districts. Scientist Leonard Spurgeon has died at the age of 86. He was the one in the Khonshu. That was the one assisting research at Finhabanis. We need a high level to stick in here. Looks like all of my high levels are actually doing research right now. And I have a spare. We'll just stick Marion Scott in there. Ah, that's right. I pulled the scientist out of the Nomad because it was in transit. That's the reason I had a spare. And we do have to tell her to assist research. I have not checked out the new DLC yet, the Paragons, but I had heard that their objective with changing the way leaders worked and slimming down your leaders, like the way that they change it where you don't need 3 different scientists for technology anymore, was they want you to have less leaders, but they want them to have more value. Well, in that regard, there are a few other steps they could take, and like I said, I haven't checked it out yet, so I don't know if they have taken any of these steps. But currently, the way it is, you do not need admirals. Admirals give fleets a bonus. You do not need generals. Generals give armies a bonus. You do not need governors. Governors give colonies and sectors a bonus. But you need researchers. You cannot explore unsurveyed areas or unexplored areas without a scientist manning a ship, which I think should be removed. You should be able to send an unmanned science ship in there because we could send unmanned probes. As a matter of fact, there is a situation that you can pick up in some games where you are recovering unmanned probes you sent out a long time ago. But I don't see why just a regular science ship with the default crew not having a special scientist leader on board cannot explore areas. I don't see why they cannot conduct surveys. I could understand restricting scientists to researching anomalies, but a science ship in and of itself should be able to assist research, should be able to enter unexplored areas, should be able to survey planets, and should be able to do active reconnaissance. And on the subject of having a lot of superfluous leaders that don't really have a lot of value, well, let's talk about envoys. Envoys don't gain levels. They don't get abilities. They're just a mechanic that restricts what you can do. There are other ways they could do that. See, they could make it to where you could create spy networks just by spending influence, like 0.125 influence to create a spy network with no leader assigned. And they could do away with the envoys, since they now have a soft cap on leaders in general, shift everything that gave additional envoys to improving your soft cap for leaders, and allow you to assign any leader into a position that an envoy previously had. I mean, they already have the mechanic where if you are on certain stances, it costs influence to send envoys to harm relations or to improve relations. Well, they could go a step further and allow you to do it without envoys or leaders, just by spending influence, and reduce the influence or remove the influence cost if you put a leader in that position, so that you can start improving relations with another empire just by spending 0.125 influence every month. You could start creating a spy network with another empire with 0.125 influence every month. If you had a leader you wanted to throw into as the spy master for a spy network, or as the diplomat to improve relations, then it doesn't cost the influence because you're assigning a leader who is costing you unity, and you have a cap of leaders so that you have limited ones to do that. But they could do away with the envoys altogether at this point and make it where you actually assign leaders or exert influence to do things. Strike Force Hippogriff has been fully upgraded. I can start reinforcing them. Now, I don't want to spend all of my alloys on reinforcements. I'll just reinforce a few at a time just so I can keep some alloys banked in case I need them for something else. There's a unidentified empire over here. That is more than likely going to be either a fallen empire or another marauder clan. Considering the size, I do not think it's a marauder clan. I think that's another fallen empire. The Nomad has reappeared. We'll send it over here to Austin just to put it over here. And we're going to need a leader to assist research. We'll go with Vladislav Sorokin, the materials expert. I gave 150 minor artifacts to the United Miravandium Imperium for 30 loyalty. There has been a declaration of war. Glostwerhenian Galactic Hierarchy declared war on the Miravandium. What? Wait. Miravandium Enterprises. Allied Independent Systems. Allied Independent Systems Miravandian War of Obedience. So this is to vassalize them. And I just realized I wasn't recording at all when I tried that. Boy, I've had problems with the last 6 or 8, 9 months. Either I had my microphone muted or I wasn't recording. I'm just off today. But what I did is I sent out some agreements to the United Latrepian domains for the trade action of the Bulwark prefabs. Let's make it a little easier for us to build the fortifications and weaponry needed to defend what is rightfully ours. This increases the cost and upkeep of their defense platforms, but reduces ours. Now, we could also get Bulwark technology, but that just gives me the option for planetary shields for the 10 years or whatever that we are doing this, I think. Well, no, it's not a deal length in years. That would be automatic. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that, and we will give them a favor, because favors don't do them any good. They have to vote with us. I also went to the United Miravandium Imperium and got the Prospectorium techniques. We know our vassals have worked hard to mine our resources, so let us allow insightful overlords to manage them properly. That boosts my exotic gases, rare crystals, and motes at the expense of theirs. And for the Citadel Research Institute, we did both the Stellarium processors and the Stellarium hypotheses, and I think the flavor text for these two are backwards. This one says, we know our scholarly vassals don't fully understand the consequences of their research. Let's empower more enlightened minds. And this one affects the amount of alternatives you get for research, whereas the processors affect your research station output. And the flavor text on this one says, our vassals' limited minds should be kept to limited options. Overlords are better at leveraging the data lesser minds gather. Now, that bit about limited options seems like it fits more with the hypotheses than the processors. But those are the deals we currently have out. And mainly I traded favors, because favors aren't going to do people with limited diplomacy any good. So yeah, I got the Prospectorium techniques in exchange for a favor. And I got the Stellarium processors and the Stellarium hypotheses in exchange for 2 favors. And for 100 volatile motes, I got the bulwark prefabs. And for 1 favor, I got the bulwark technology. Now they are almost positive, and I have less than 3 months for my last transport fleet to land where it needs to land. It has 2 months left, and then they will start gaining loyalty again.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Ancient driller drones. These high-velocity drones have been equipped with antique mining lasers that virtually ignore any plating protecting their target. A tech too good to be wasted on astro mining. Alright, we did not get the option I was hoping for. Well, we have cloning showing up here, which is pop growth speed. Of these, fleet supremacy actually would allow me to field more ships in my fleets. That one would take 2 years. The diplomacy would take almost 3. Cloning would take a little over 2. I tell you what, let us actually recruit a biologist. If we can, yes, we have one. Rupert Beauclerk. About the same, but this biologist would give us a better chance of getting the one we need. Now, I probably am able to stick that other person, like in the Khonshu. I think they are higher level by 1. So now I should have better research. But in about a year, we'll get the advanced research complexes. Our trade treaty with the United Merivandium Imperium is timed out. They were pledging loyalty to us. We traded nothing for a pledge of loyalty. So now they are really losing monthly loyalty. So let us get that pledge of loyalty back. And it said we traded nothing. But let's give them a favor. We can almost get it for 20 years with 1 favor. So let's see, can we get it for 30 years with 2 favors? Yes. So that will extend how long they have this bonus. 2 favors for basically triple the length of time that they're pledging loyalty. We're in a system with a space amoeba again. This looks to be the exact same dialogue we got for the last one. We'll get an option to send troops to deal with them, I believe. Though we don't currently have any troops in the area, it might be a good idea to go ahead and build a few new armies. A couple of slave armies. And a human assault army. They agreed to the Pledge of Loyalty. They didn't quite land before my next maintenance. There's another war. Star Realms of Shar have declared war on the Yarrow Region Divine Order. A servitude campaign, so they are attempting to subjugate them.
Ships refitted.
First Strike Medusa, or Strike Force Medusa, is finally fully refitted, and it is filled out.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Gorgon, fully refitted and filled out. It's up to 18.7K now.
Ships refitted.
And Strike Force Dragon is now fully refitted. So my 3 fleets together are about 48K. A little over those 3 fleets. Still not quite enough to take the Marauders. It would be a very tough fight, especially with the bases in here. Just the fleets alone exceed me. This one is even heavier, but this one's about the same.
Science Division reports success.
So we have an influential Gloucesterian professional, an economist. Alright, let's see. Gloucesterians. Yes, that is one we can use to steal technology. Because he is subterfuge. So that one is excellent. We now have a decent asset over here. We can steal technology. Probably in January, we'll have 81 influence. We can do that. And we have completed anti-gravity engineering. With directional gravity technology, buildings on the surface of planets can reach higher than ever before without risking structural collapse. The sky is the limit. It would take about 5 years to get most of these techs. Actually, it looks like 4. Between 4 and 4.5. Upgraded missiles. Upgraded thrusters so we travel a little faster. Let's actually go ahead and knock out the 0G refineries, I think. Because that will take less than a year and get us a nice re-roll. We could probably see something. Well, we could get the civilian fabricators in a year and a half. And that is something that would be useful. We do, I believe, have sufficient crystals. Well, that's even more crystals. What we really need to start seeing are the refinery buildings. But yeah, let's get nano circuit assembly to boost up our consumer goods. That'll take a year and a half. Now we do have a materials specialist now. And we have a level 4 that should actually be here in Khonshu. I'm going to attempt again to get this fleet, see if I can pull it off. First, we're going to start with logistical solutions. Our logistical support service is there to help you deploy your fleets to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Our dedicated experts will make sure that your ships are equipped with all they need, from ammunition to food, down to the last bolt on your temperature regulators. Additionally, we will set up supply depots ahead of the fleet, or broker provisioning contractors with local civilian companies. They kind of misspelled contractors. Your ships deserve the best care, and we are here to provide it. So that would require 4,000 energy credits. I can get 4,000 energy credits. Let's sell 5,000 food. And 2,500 consumer goods. So that boosted our relations with them. Now we should be able to get them to recall their fleet again. It takes 50 influence. But we did get our relations back up, so I think in 7 months or 6 months we should be able to... no, we won't have the influence for quite some time, because I spent it all on a operation. The strong magnetic field around Destinicon has been affecting computers on the surface recently. Oddly, this effect is not merely random interference. Instead, computers are actually working more efficiently than they should be. It is almost as if an outside force is lending a helping hand. That is the one problem with planets with strong magnetic field. The magnetic miracle will pop up fairly quickly, before you could possibly have any research in place. And it boosts research for 5 years. Research in all fields. And I'm in the middle of building a generator district. I think after that I'm going to build a city district and then a research facility and get some humans over here working research. Yeah, that's only going to last 5 years. Scientist Nishant Naik died at the age of 86. That was my most experienced scientist, of course. We did have a spare scientist, so we'll just stick him in the Khonshu and assist research again. United Nations of Earth is in a commercial pact with the Praku Interstellar Nation. Another human on the slave market.
Skywatch has sighted a spaceborne life form.
More space amoebas. Uthbul and allied clans declared us their rival again.
We have claimed a new world.
Destiny is up and running, another one of my intentionally tidally locked worlds. Has high gravity, so it takes a little bit longer to build structures here, and they have higher upkeep. Habitability is also lower. Scientist Marion Scott has developed new skills. The roamer trait boosts survey speed.
Construction complete.
Caspadine has built a mercenary garrison here. Regulatory facilitation should pass. It's going to be a little bit more worker pop resource output. The mandate of Massim III has embraced the Alien Friendship League and become more xenophilic. The Usanakan Company has been destroyed by its enemies. I don't even remember them, honestly. I think they popped up over here somewhere. Your species seems to grow more and more disgusting for each passing day, human. You know, you guys talk a lot of crap for being over here with very little territory. I mean, you're listed as equivalent. You're actually inferior to me in economy, which is pretty bad, considering my economy is not the greatest right now. Yeah, the Adnoran Reapers are pretty damn low. Hell, I've got almost double their economic strength. I've actually got more tech than them. 50% more colonies. They are doing poorly. Because I am doing midding. I should be doing a lot better by now. Yeah, they've got getting close to getting triple my technology level again, the Sorin are. Star Realms of Shar are the most technologically advanced at this point. Everybody above us has more technology than we do, and some of the people below us do. The Sovereign Jazajan Assembly, the Reshethian State, the Tender Zun. We're tied with the Uthabulans. The Habenti Unified Worlds have more tech than we do, as do the Praku Interstellar Nation. Now we start running into, with the exception of the United Latrepian domains, our vassal, we're starting to run into the ones that are significantly below us. But we are trying our best to steadily boost our technology. I am in the process of upgrading both administrative complexes and research complexes all over the place, and of course transferring new population I'm getting from these new colonies over there to work the advanced jobs while I transfer slaves to work their jobs.
Science Division reports success.
We have multi-dimensional studies. To expand our knowledge base, we must consider all levels of existence. A new realm of science awaits us. Better reactors. Disruptor is the cheapest one here. It's another short-range weapon along like the autocannons that bypasses shields and armor. Yeah, the planetary shield generator got fixed down here, so we no longer have to worry about it popping up here. We don't really have anything that will use the disruptors yet. That could be something we decide to start using just to bypass, because it has 100% accuracy. And we could bypass shields and armor until somebody gets hardening technology. I really want the hyperdrives. I guess we need to knock out speculative hyperlane breaching, though it should not be a prerequisite for any of these. We've seen the advanced hyperdrive before, it just hasn't popped up recently. Yeah, we could knock this one out for a quick reroll. It would take less than 2 years. Or we could start getting progress on a better reactor so we don't need the reactor boosters anymore. But that would take 5 years. We'd need a better reactor before we got advanced shields. Or we could knock out assist cloaking detection. It's a dead-end tech. It'll stop showing, clear out one of the options. And it seems to want to keep showing up. And that will give our ship something to do. We could have a ship over there assisting cloaking detection around Larkin Singularity to see if anything is coming into our area cloaked. Right now it has fairly decent cloak detection though. Has a detection strength of 4 and a sensor range of 5. So we should see any cloaked ships 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to safe and Dultari. Let's see, my sensor range is 5 with this one as well. So I could use my, when I get the further upgrade, use my last 2 slots for here on Deneb for cloaking range detection. Or since I actually have star bases that have shipyards elsewhere, I don't really need them here, I don't think. We have stolen tech. We've stolen standardized destroyer patterns from the Uthabulan allied clans. I don't want to lose my bureaucrat, so we'll just say mission accomplished. Our final colony ship, the Provider, is on its way to the final planet we can colonize apart from the Tomb World. They still have our fleet. Where is it? We secured research from the Glosterhenians. We got railguns, 30% progress toward it. That will do. Mission accomplished. Let's go to technology. We're about 6 months away from civilian fabricators, at which time we'll be able to check out how long it would take us to upgrade to railguns. We have a new proposal. Right now, it looks like Astral Studies Network has moved up to be the next one. Repeal cooperative research channels by the Interstellar Picarian Coalition. Galactic law currently places significant amounts of intellectual property. We've read that one before. I'm actually going to oppose that, because cooperative research channels and Astral Studies are actually going to end up helping me out in the long run, I think. My tech is starting to grow. I'm actually moving up in diplomatic weight, as you see. I'm getting 1559 from fleets. That's about half of what the Star Realm of Shar has. Twice what the Multics have. About 75% of what the Hierarchy of Moffat has. Double what the Soran have. And the United Nations of Earth. And that's just, I'm just looking at my base fleet levels, not the benefits from everything else. So we're getting close to having our military fleet up in par with the movers and the shakers again. And as we get more fleet power, we get more diplomatic weight. Our economy is still meh. Yeah, I mean, we've got about a third of what the Star Realm of Shar does. Technology, we've got a quarter of what the Star Realm of Shar does. Got about half of what the United Nations of Earth has.
Our pioneers have made planetfall.
Our final planet is being colonized now. And we need to renew our agreement with the curators. We're running kind of low on energy credits. But we gain 360. I've just been spending a lot. We gain 360 a month. So in a year, we'll gain that 5,000 back. I've just been spending a lot to buy alloys so I could keep reinforcing this fleet fairly quickly. The Strike Force Hippogriff. We've got 6 more frigates lined up. That will get us even closer. We were almost at full naval coverage again, and we do have quite a significant amount of fleet capacity left. I really wish we could get our Fortress Legionnaires back. I don't have the energy credits to try and get them to cancel their contract, so we're just not going to worry about it right now. But it has been another 5 years. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.